Hello, this is the Forgetful Scholar. I'm Jessica. Welcome back. So let's get into it. A good word for this week would be conflicted, but I'll get to that later. So the first book of this week, which is no surprise to anybody who's been watching, is the continuation of Snow and Winter: The Mystery of the Moving Image by C.S.Poe. I've read enough about Winter stuff years ago to get the author name down pat. This one, 4 stars. I continue to love it. The story, the love line, and the mystery. So it's a continuation of Sebastian and Calvin's love story, which was really sweet. In this one, they did have a little bit more of Sebastian's insecurities coming to the forefront. Issues that I never even thought that a vision impaired person would have, such as anxiety just choosing what to wear that day, because he's used to wearing bland clothes that he and his dad got from the Salvation Army and things like that. Like, he didn't really care about the colors and things as long as it just matched. And then he's been with Calvin for a little bit, and he's feeling cute, he's feeling good, he has a good relationship, he's happy. So he wanted to add color to his wardrobe, and he has to use a color wheel and things like that, and he's getting it wrong, and some of his insecurities are coming out because of that. And then, of course, Calvin has an ex-boyfriend that shows up and is like, oh, I just wanted to meet you because, I used to date Calvin, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to have you. Yeah, we all see what you're doing. He totally did the ex kind of undermined the relationship type thing, which he totally did. Sebastian's insecurities really are a big part of this story, which was very interesting for their love line and things like that. The mystery revolved around a kaleidoscope, which is a personal, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, so give me one. Let me see if my notes, let me see if I can pronounce that correctly. So this mystery has to do with a kinetoscope, which is a personal movie theater for one person. You sit, as she explained it, you sit in a seat and you look through a little window and you see the image. And it was produced by the Edison Company, but invented by W.K.L. Dickinson. So that's the mystery that starts. And again, it's a fantastic, fun Sherlock Holmes type mystery of whodunit. Again, the red herrings were really, really good. Even by the third book, I was still like, maybe that is the bad guy? Because I don't see how it could, okay. And then when the real bad guy is revealed, you're like, I knew it all along. Of course, it makes sense. You tricked me again. But it's a fun ride. The romantic ending actually had me swooning. Like, I clutched my Kindle. I was like, oh. And like a weirdo, that's what I did. So this is definitely 4 stars. So this is not in the conflicted pile at all. The rest of the books really were conflicting for me. And I'll go by least conflicting to most conflicting. So that would probably be this guy here, A Wolf After My Own Heart by Mary Janice Davidson. This is a paranormal book. I know, an actual book. Look at that. Not only Kindles, actual books. Anyway, so this is the second to, she had another book, Bears Behaving Badly, and I had both of them up, and I was thinking about which one to get. And the thing about paranormal books is that sometimes their back explanation is just so silly that I didn't bother. So the one with the bears behaving badly, it just struck me as so silly I didn't bother. And now I'm regretting that because this is a really funny book. I really had a fun time. This centers around Oz, who is a wolf shifter, and he worked as an accountant for IPA, which is a Child Protective Services for shifter children. So in this world, there's all kinds of shifters, but the humans or stables have no idea. So they live alongside them, but also separate and hidden. So Oz wanted, he himself, as his older sister, Annette, who was in the first book, are foster kids by Mama Mac. And he wanted to be a caseworker to give back. So this is his first case. And his first case is Sally Smalls, which is the cutest little name. and she is a bear shifter, and she's is convinced her parents are alive, and she runs away and gets hurt. And that's where the heroine walks in, Lila. She finds this bear cub that's injured. She takes it home because it seems pretty docile. She gives it honey and pizza and tries to call animal control, but they're like, no, you have to call IPA. She's like, what is that? And then she sees Sally shift into human, and she's a very cool under pressure type person. And I think it would have been a little jarring if we didn't have her POV and see how she's going internally. And the book was a hoot. It was a lot of fun. Actually, a little funnier than I thought it would be, considering it has to do with, like, there's some dark themes in it. A little human trafficking, past child abuse, past trauma. But somehow the quirky characters are really entertaining, and the author put up some like footnotes once in a while to make little jokes, and it was a lot of fun. So this one is definitely my humor. It was silly, it was fun, the characters were fun. The way I'm conflicted is, like, the mystery was fun, the action fun was great pacing. I wanted to finish the book all in one go. It was fantastic. Oz was a sweetheart, very adorable, very dorkable, you know. Lila was cool and kick-ass and still fun. She was nice but sarcastic. Like, it was great. I should stop waving this around. The only problem was that there wasn't really a romance story going on. So it was kind of love at first sight kind of thing. And then there's a little explanation of why that's possible. And then they had other things to do. And then it wasn't really a fade to black. It was more like we come into the chapter and they're finished with their love scene, and we just got the pillow talk. So I was like, okay, so that's a little disappointing. I didn't necessarily like the romance arc of it. I thought that was lacking a little bit. And at the same time, it was really funny, and there wasn't any high drama, which sometimes is nice, you know. So that's why conflicted is the word of the week, because I'm conflicted. Part of me wants to give it 4 stars because it was really entertaining, makes me want to read more of her stuff. Another part of me wants to give it 3 stars because what the hell was that romance line? That was kind of bold. So I'm gonna go with 3 stars on this. Am I gonna check out more of her stuff? I think so. I'm really tempted to pick up Bears Behaving Badly. So 3 stars for that one. So now we begin the chaos. Book 3 is Psychic Detective Shadows Return, Book 2 by S.C.Wynne. S.C.Wynne. Why do I keep saying Wayne instead of wine? Sorry, wine. S.C.Wynne. Now this is a continuation of the Psychic Detective we saw before. Liam, he sees dead people, and he works for the police department, and now his romantic partner, Detective Thompson. Again, conflicted, because I like this world, I like the characters in it. This just didn't, and the first book was so fantastic, so I almost think that I didn't enjoy this one as much because the first book blew me away, so it's almost like it gets punished for its success, and I guess that's just the way it is. The mystery was alright. Again, it's kind of a different style of a detective story. It's not Sherlock Holmes like. It's very different. It's more cop show type. I wasn't really satisfied by the mystery's ending. It did feel like it opened a lot of doors for more things. Maybe Liam's powers are improving or getting more powerful, things like that. We're not sure. The romantic line, it seemed, I get why there was some miscommunication and some insecurities with Thompson and Liam, because Liam's partner that passed away was one of Thompson's best friends, and he saw what an amazing romance William and Liam had. So I understand that he gets a little insecure and things like that. I just felt it was sort of shoved in there a little bit. There were cute moments though. See, this is where the confliction comes in. There were cute moments, and I did like how the bad guy was defeated in this one. I hate confliction. I do. I'm very much a yes or no person. Very much absolutely agree, absolutely disagree kind of person. So this is a little rough for me. This week was a little eye twitchy for me. So, This one's gonna be a 3-star too, because it did kind of seem like a middle act in a bigger book. And sometimes with these smaller, independent stories, I kind of want to read them all in one go, almost like these 3 books were meant to be one book. But at the same time, I want to read the book and let it kind of percolate and absorb for itself. So this one I will give a 3. I hate to do it. But it wasn't enough. Like the first one was so fantastic. I really enjoyed the first one so much. This one was just left kind of like, wah, wah. Will I read the third one? Hell yes. Of course I will. That's why it's not a 2 or things like that. It's just, well, like I said, it felt kind of like the middle act in a bigger book. So the last book, and the most conflicted I had this week, again, my twitchy week, is Wyrde and Wayward, a House of Werth novel by Charlotte E. English. Now, this is a gorgeous cover, isn't it? That's really pretty. I love the blue. Look at that. And I was really interested in this book because in this world, Wyrde exists. And how that exists is that different people, it seems mostly the prestige, are creatures and have certain abilities. Not all the prestige or the ton have it, and it seems to be dying out a little bit. But this one family, the Werths, have it in abundance. And what I really, really loved is this world that was created. And I really, really loved how they used different kind of creatures. So it's not all the stereotypical werewolves and vampires, although those are kind of there. There's gorgons, there's fire elementals, there's ice elementals, there's specters, necromancers, just dragons, just a huge abundance of different things. Sorry, water break. Okay. So, and I really enjoyed that. And the world I really enjoyed. And this came up when I searched paranormal romance. The thing is, there wasn't a romance in it. So there might have been something with the category that just got messed up with Amazon. I don't know. This was, again with the jeez. So this was said to be a comedy, and comedy's so subjective, and I just didn't get the jokes. The main character, Augusta, or Gussie, as she's told in this book, she seems to have very sarcastic humor. It just, for me, didn't play off very sarcastic. It kind of felt a little cold. But again, humor is subjective, so I don't want to be like, screw this book because of that. I don't want to do that. So it does follow Augusta Werth, and she's in this family of cool weird monsters, and she is normal. She doesn't have a weird. She has no powers, and it kind of made me think of that super, super old movie, TV show at Nick at Night, used to replay at Nick at Night, like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. The Monsters, where the whole family were different creatures, except they had the cousin that was completely normal. And I was like, ooh, so kind of see the story from the completely normal girl's point of view. I'm here for it. Let's try it. And the writing was interesting. It seemed like a mix of maybe Jane Austen type words, but contemporary sentence structure. So it did take me a little bit to kind of like get used to the writing style. And it was a very clever writing style. It just took me a second to get used to it, because up at this point I was reading very contemporary based novels, so it took me a second. So Augusta, the whole book, mostly it's her POV. We do get a little bit of her cousin Theo's POV, who is a very grumpy vampire that just wants to be left alone with his books. I thought that was pretty funny. And I don't feel like I know her. For most of the book, we're in her POV. I got that she's super curious. I get that she's super stubborn, that she's craving adventure. Cool. But I feel like the biggest issue in this book, whether she has a weird or whether she doesn't have a weird, I didn't get a sense of how she felt about it. Was she happy? Was she not? Because there seemed to be conflicting stories. Like when she was a child, she wanted one. Now she's happy she doesn't have one. But then this and this and this happens. But stuff happens. So I felt like I didn't quite grasp her completely. And that could totally have been my fault. I can't imagine how difficult it is to write a book. Like, it must be immensely difficult. I understand that. It just didn't resonate with me. And this is why this is the biggest confliction of the week, because the world created was phenomenal. Like, I keep balancing between a 2-star and a 3-star in this book, because really, the world alone, you should read the book just for the world alone. I thought it was so much fun. And again, your humor might really jive with this. My humor didn't. And again, it was labeled as romance, and there was none. And if there was, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. And at the end of the book, I didn't even know if she liked any of the gentlemen that were around her. So again, that could have just been disappointment for some weird, category inconsistency in Amazon itself, or with the book itself, or with me myself. So I don't want to give it a bad mark for that, but at the same time, the whole book, I was waiting for some kind of, oh, he's cute, oh, I don't know why I'm attracted to him, oh, isn't he a gentleman, something, even if it was a dainty, pure little, oh, he's so handsome, kind of something. I was waiting for something, and I don't really know if I'm going to read the other 2 books in the series, even though I really like the world. It's just a little like, what am I reading? Am I reading a fantasy mystery? Am I reading a paranormal romance? Am I reading a paranormal comedy? I just didn't get the genre locked down, so I had no idea what was going on. Yet a little part of me enjoyed the ride because the world was really interesting. The pacing also was very jarring for me. So again, it's a first book in creating this world, so I kind of expected a little slow of a start where you world build. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. So the book didn't really reel me in until chapter 11. Then something interesting happens and we get going, and there's a bit of a mystery concerning her that no one's talking about. Okay, we're gonna get an answer. Let's go. Let's do this. Ooh, look at that. Okay, and boom, the pacing jumped up. Cool. I thought we were in it for a little bit, and then a chapter or 2, pretty quickly, it felt very quickly, the pacing dropped, and we're in a more, and then the world gets built up even more. Family members start showing up. This starts happening. An object is kind of Cthulhu-esque, which I always enjoy when Mr. Cthulhu gets sprinkled into some books. I don't know what that kind of movement was. Where was I? Oh yeah, Cthulhu like object. So the world gets built up again, and new characters are introduced in the dead middle of the book, and I didn't really understand their function as to why. And yes, there's another book after, I think 2 other books after this, so perhaps it's building up for more stuff there. Okay, it happens. I'm not gonna be bitchy about that. I'll be bitchy about it. I don't think so. Like, where's the romance? Does she even like anybody? And it didn't, and it kept going back whether she even, I didn't even know if she liked her own family. Like, she seemed to get colder after chapter 11, and I was like, is it because she's angry? But it's not addressed. Like, there's no argument that happened, there's no swallowing of feelings, it's just stiffer upper lip carrying on. Cool. But if we're in her POV, we should be getting her internal thoughts. And if you don't want us to have her internal thoughts, switch the POV to somebody else. And the only 2 people that had POVs were her and her cousin Theo. And I feel like I got a little bit more of Theo's character, but not really. Because I don't know if he cares about, like, well, he does say that he finds Gussie the least annoying of his family. So that is something. But it's just, this book really marked confusion. I think that's the best way to sum it up. I was pretty much confused. I didn't know what I was reading. Oof. I didn't know what I was reading. And I wanted to. It's an interesting world. I wanted to get sucked in. I wanted to root for everybody in this. I really did. But something just kept me out of it. And I can't really verbalize what that was. Something about the humor, something about maybe not understanding not getting which genre this was except paranormal, kept me from kind of enjoying it, because I was like, well, what's going to happen next? Well, shouldn't this be happening next? If this is a mystery, shouldn't this be happening next? If it's a fantasy, shouldn't this be happening next? If it's comedy, shouldn't this be happening next? Is romance. So like my brain kept like, well, filling in blanks that weren't there, and I had to kind of pull back. So I hope I conveyed how annoyed and confused and conflicted I was this week, because again, this was a gorgeous world, but I just didn't care about any of the main characters, which is like, you don't want that. I don't know if I'm gonna read the next ones in the series. I don't know. Please chime in if you have an opinion about it, or don't if you don't. I don't know. Who knows? So that ends this ranty session today. So I don't want to, but I have to get back to the real world. So I'll see you later.